Hey, what's going on, guys? Eric Pate here, back with another video. Just so I don't get the question 1,000 times, what I thought about the first street course race in Chicago. I'm just going to go ahead and answer that question now, just so I don't get asked 1,000 times. And Junior wants to come say hi, but my cat. Hey, want to come say hi? Okay, but anyway. I hated it. I did not like it. This is probably one of the races I didn't like the most. Besides the ones that were won by Joey Logano, this race is probably the one race I hated the most that Joey Logano did not win. Anyway, enough me. This video is not about me hating on Joey Logano. This video is me hating on the Chicago Street Course race. Let's start off with Xfinity, because I have some shit to say about Xfinity first. It's about what they were going to do with the Xfinity race. So they only got 25 laps in the Xfinity race, I might add. 55. They had to get to lap 28 for them to call. They called it on lap 20. Then when lap 26 hit, lightning strike, they had to bring the cars on pit row. So on lap 26, they said that there was so much lightning, they pushed the race to the next day in the morning, but they couldn't get it restarted. And due to the fact that it was the street course and they had to open it back up in time for Monday morning rush hour, they called it. And what they were going to do was they were going to put the cars. This is legit was what NASCAR thought about doing, and I'm glad they didn't, because that was just going to be a big waste of time. They were going to put the cars, the Xfinity cars, they were going to put them on the track for 2 laps under yellow, then come to a caution checkered. So it would have made no difference than what they ended up doing, which was calling the race 2 laps before halfway, which is not in the NASCAR rulebook. But I kind of understand why they did it. But it would have been no difference. I still would have said it probably would have been no difference either way. So, now let's fast forward. And yeah, and Cole Custer ended up winning the race, leading all 26 laps. I would still say, though, that I would say they fucked Xfinity over so badly. So badly they fucked Xfinity. Now let's go to the next race. Let's go to a race that happened about a good 6 hours after the Cup race. Even though it was supposed to be after the Xfinity race was called. They kind of messed up here again. Well, I wouldn't have said they messed up as badly in the Cup race than they did the Xfinity race. They fucked the Xfinity race majorly. They majorly fucked the Xfinity race. The Cup race, on the other hand, I would kind of say they fucked it up as well, but not as bad. They shortened the race 25 laps, then we went into overtime, so we ended up finishing the race on lap 77. Technically, they didn't go into overtime because they didn't make it until lap 100. Technically, they didn't go overtime. I'm going to save the best thing for last, which you guys probably want to know, which for those of you that know me probably knows what that is. So let's go ahead, save the best thing for last, and then I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that happened during the Cup race. Well, where to start? Pretty much from the get-go, for the first good half of the race, good 3/4 of a race, it was mainly Christopher Bell. No one could get to Christopher Bell. No one had anything for Christopher Bell. Then Christopher Bell made a mistake and I think hit a tire barrier or something. Once he hit that, the race completely changed. I believe at one point, Justin Haley had a shot at winning the race. And to try to get him into the playoffs. Chase Elliott was up there too. He was trying to get himself into the playoffs. For those of you that don't know, Chase Elliott had to miss 7 weeks. 6 of them was injury, and then 1 of them was a bullshit suspension. I'm still fighting that. I still think that suspension was bullshit. Because I have seen other drivers done a lot worse shit this year than what Chase Elliott did. But they're just getting off of just a warning. Anyway, and then they eventually had a, and then after they made the announcement that, hey, we're ending on lap 75, and I'm like, what? Why are we ending on lap 75? Don't they have streetlights in Chicago? Those streetlights were actually on. I think those lights would have been enough for us to make it to lap 100. I can guarantee you that if they kept it to 100, we would have definitely made it, because those streetlights were on by the time the race was over. By the time the race finally ended on lap 77, the streetlights were on. So they kind of did also fuck over the cup race. They can end races due to darkness. I've seen it. This is only the second time I've seen it happen, and that was the first time was the 21 New Hampshire race. And okay, in that situation they really had no choice, because New Hampshire doesn't have lights, and if it's like getting too dark to where like drivers can't see, if drivers are complaining they can't see, NASCAR can shorten the race due to darkness. And they shortened the New Hampshire race a couple years ago from 301 laps to 293. At lap 288 at lap 283 was when they called 2 to go. No, not 2 to go, 10 to go. Honestly, they should have done something close to the same than what they ended up doing with the Chicago race. But I understand they probably want to come with better strategy and whatnot. Now, let's talk about the guy who ended up winning. This guy has races for a circuit in Australia and New Zealand. He's a New Zealander, and and in the series he raced in, they were super aggressive. But he didn't really need to be aggressive on his debut, but he was. I think he was aggressive. He forced Justin Haley into making a mistake with 5 laps to go in regulation. Air quotes, because that was lap 70. And like I said, they shortened the race after stage 2 to lap 75. Which makes me kind of mad. Still makes me kind of mad, because I think easily at least we would have made it lap 90. And then a caution had to come out, and then we had to went into overtime. Air quotes again, because technically didn't go overtime because we did not make it to the original scheduled distance of 100 laps. But he passed Justin Haley with 5 laps to go in regulation, and then he held off. Did an overtime. He held off Justin Haley to become the first driver since 1963 to win in his Cup Series debut. His name is Shane von Ginzburgen. I thought he did a great job. I mean, I was gonna be impressed if he just finished second, but it's even more impressive at winning your very first race in your very first ever start. Like I said, this has not happened in 60 plus years. And I thought it was pretty impressive. And this was for an international project that Justin Marks started called Project 91. He's trying to get more international. This project, Project 91, I can make a whole 10-minute video about. Project 91 is a project that he started. I can probably just make a whole 10-minute video just talking about Trackhouse Racing and whatnot, why they're trying to get more international guys in the series. But I think he did a great job at coming up with this project, and this race probably shows why that this project was underestimated. A lot of people underestimated this project. I didn't. I can see what he was trying to do. Get more international people to try to join the sport of NASCAR, and I certainly did see somebody winning in that 91 car eventually. I didn't think it was going to be a guy in his first ever Cup Series start, but it was. And he's a genius. This shows him that Justin Marks is 100% a genius. But like I said, I could just make a whole video about Trackhouse Racing and why they're trying to do more international business. Only driver that's not international that has driven for Trackhouse is the guy who drives the one, Ross Chastain. But I could just make a video talking about Daniel Suarez, Kimi Räikkönen, Shane Van Gisbergen, and the other drivers he thought about possibly bringing into the Cup Series. He's from another country. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Chicago race. Like, subscribe, comment, favorite, be nice, cool, be awesome. Here, Peyton on the 8. See you later.